So as we all know, Iran has been attacked and it has struck back. There was a Mutt and Jeff process going on. The Americans were negotiating with Iran to defang it of its nuclear program. They were putting a lot of diplomatic pressure on Iran to engage in this thing. And as part of that Mutt and Jeff routine, while the Americans were putting the diplomatic pressure, the Israelis were giving the threats of military attack on its nuclear sites, nuclear enrichment plants, on its petrochemical complexes, on its command and control infrastructure. So as we have seen, this attack started yesterday. That is, when Israel struck Natanz, that is the uranium enrichment facility. They struck the command and control headquarters of the IRGC, the Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps in Tehran, and they also struck the Isfahan, as also the terminal at the island, the Khark Island, which is the oil terminal, the biggest oil terminal of Iran. So it was a very well planned attack launched with 200 Israeli warplanes, which stayed on their side, which flew across over Syria and well away from the Iranian border. They fired their beyond visual range missiles, especially their cruise missiles, to decapacitate, to cause serious damage to the Natanz nuclear enrichment plant. And the IAEA has mentioned that there is radioactive contamination in Natanz, which is a very, very serious affair. They also hit the Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps headquarters. There are various figures coming out of the total number of, generals who have been eliminated. But the head of the IRGC definitely has been killed. Also, the head of the Air Force reportedly been killed, and about 3 to 4 nuclear scientists, top class nuclear scientists who are working on the nuclear enrichment program, on the design of the weapon. So now Iran has hit back. Last night, Iran hit back with a barrage of about 150 ballistic missiles and drones. 150 ballistic missiles. And as was clearly evident on the television screens, though most of these missiles and drones were shot down, a fair percentage does seem to have gotten through, which could be as high as 7 to 8% or more, because we could see massive explosions in Tel Aviv, close to their headquarters of the Ministry of Defense. So Iran has stuck back with determination, and it looks like that Iran has girded up its loins for a long fight. And if a shooting war starts off, Israel is talking of a 10 to 15-day long campaign in which they'll take advantage of the Iranian retaliation to hit more nuclear targets, more energy related targets, more, command and control targets, so that their aim is to defang the nascent Iranian nuclear capability. They have said that we just will not accept a nuclear Iran. And to that extent, we will do everything possible to see that Iran does not acquire that nuclear capability. Now, where will this all lead to? Right? The simple fact is that this could, at the very least, lead to a major regional conflict. Iran has said if our nuclear facilities are attacked, we'll try and hit the nuclear facilities of Israel. If our energy facilities are attacked, we will not only hit the Israeli energy facilities, but also energy facilities in the entire Arab world. we will try and create, a energy global crisis. And if they hit the oil fields, if they hit the Persian oil Gulf oil routes, if they start hitting the tankers, then there is going to be economic chaos. They will be held to pay. You see, the simple fact is the price of oil could shoot up. The world was just recovering from the aftershocks of the Russia-Ukraine conflict. And now, if the balloon goes up in the Middle East, and oil facilities of Saudi Arabia, of Oman, Muscat, etc., are hit, if American air bases, American ground troop bases in the Middle East, which are close targets within easy reach of Iranian missiles and drones, if these are hit, it could become a shooting war that could last for months, if not years. Yes, Iran will lose finally, but Iran, their pain tolerance threshold is extremely high. 8 years they fought the Iran-Iraq war when they were, technologically far inferior in strength and capability. Today, their capabilities are very high. They almost have 10,000 ballistic missiles, thousands and thousands of Shahid drones, which the Russians have used with such good effect in Ukraine. So it is a proven design which they have done. They've already hit Israel twice. The first time with bulk with drones and some missiles. The second time primarily with missiles. And even then, 7 to 8% of their missiles had gotten through. The Fateh missile series and, the Shahbaz kind of series of missiles, they had been able to penetrate to targets in Tel Aviv. Even the Houthis have been able to penetrate. So when you attack in the mass, at least about 10% and less, despite Iron Dome, despite the Arrow missiles, despite the third Patriots, they will get through. And they are already causing a bit of consternation and alarm in Israel proper. Will America come into the fray? Yes, if Iran keeps hitting at Israel and if Iran escalates vertically and horizontally to widen the spread of the war to the petrol oil refineries in Saudi Arabia, in Oman, Muscat, Bahrain, etc., and also targets the American bases where American troops are staying, are based currently. Then it could, all bets are off. China is likely to support Iran. Russia, though bogged down in its own war in the Ukraine, has already provided Iran a fair amount of high-tech weapons and equipment. They are not a match with the Israelis. But the fact is, they do give Iran the capability to inflict damage of a very, very serious order. So that exactly is the problem. And if it lengthens out, then you can be sure that over a period of time, other actors could join the conflict. You may destroy Iran. You may destroy Iran. You may try and carry out regime change there. But the threshold of tolerance of the Iranian people, their pain thresholds are extremely high. Even in the past, like I said, in the Iran-Iraq war, 8 years of mayhem and massacres they withstood, but they almost defeated Iraq, sorry, and Iran took the war back to inside Iraq. That was the level of the tenacity of their defense. So this is a very, very grim and foreboding scenario. Donald Trump was very keen to have, an era of peace and quiet in which he could consolidate, his economy, build up his military strength, and then get on to uh, any major or with China or with both. He didn't want to get involved, bogged down straight away. He has to deal with his own deep state, which does not seem to be obeying his orders. And It looks like the operation, perhaps carried out to hit the Russian bombers, was a rogue operation. If that is so, it is an extremely serious matter. And he will take some time to assert control. So he was keen, as a grand strategic design, to have an era of peace and quiet in which he would consolidate the American economy. The turmoil that has been created by the induction of the tariffs and trade barriers, etc., all that would have settled down. But looks like he's not going to get that era of peace and quiet. And that has very grim prognostications for the rest of the world. We are headed towards a period of major wars and conflicts. Unfortunately, however much we may not like it, however much we may not want it, nobody can escape the grim conclusion: the Russia Ukraine war is 3.5 years and counting. No end in sight, it is only escalating. The war in the Middle East, is continuing and escalating. The Houthis, the Hezbollah, the Hamas will now try and come to the help of Iran, and therefore there will be all round fighting in the Middle East. And if China decides this is the precise time it wants to invade Taiwan, well, then you have a world war on your hands, whether you want to or you don't. That is the grim, very grim prognostication and forecast. We are headed for war and violence on a scale which has been unprecedented, was last seen only in World War One and World War Two. A lot of people say that it can't be World War Three because World War Two, World War One, the Western powers were colonizing powers. They had their colonies in Asia and Africa, which were forced to join the war, whether they liked it or not. I fully understand that things have changed. But if the thing escalates to nuclear levels, that will affect the whole globe. Please understand this. A lot of people try and teach me history, current history. I'm well aware of current history. I'm saying that World War One was a multipolar conflict. World War II was a multipolar conflict. Today, again, we have a multipolar global environment with America, Russia, China, India, Japan, Brazil, South Africa, etc., as the major global powers. And Europe, of course, still a center of power, though it can't operate entirely on its own without American help. We are in a multipolar environment. And historically, multipolar environment for scale of global conflicts. We hope it doesn't turn out to be that, but I'm sorry, the way things are headed, the prognostication seems grim. Thank you.